Hey, and welcome back to the Building You podcast, with Hayley Mulenda record. Love my mum, but I'm with my husband now. Over the past 2 years, my life has changed a lot. I've gotten married, I have made the most money I've ever made in my life. I've traveled the most in my life, I experienced COVID, I've stepped into a new era of my life. My name changed. It's actually very deep when your name changes. It's been a long time since I have released a podcast episode. It has been, I would think, about 2 to 3 years. And I know some people are probably wondering, why are you back now? Where have you been? And I promise you I'm going to answer all those questions. This is the Building You podcast, which is all about building you whilst you build that empire, whether that is your career, whether that is your business, whether that is your family, whatever that empire looks like. I just want to be your personal cheerleader and speak life into you. I want to say 2024 is the year of more, and it's going to be my international year. The interesting thing is I'm actually filming this in Dubai, and a few weeks ago I was in Atlanta. So literally 2 trips that have happened spontaneously allow me to build internationally, allow me to get new clientele across the world, has happened off decrees that I know that I said in September. I want this episode to be about going back to basics. And why do I say that? We're living in a time where things are so busy. People are hustling like never before because we're seeing so much in the news. We're talking about cost of living crisis, get your money up, put your grind in, things are hard, there's war, there's so much happening right now. I feel like a lot of people are in their heads and they're looking to go head on. You can't build without digging. The higher the skyscraper, the deeper the ditch, right? Anyone that's in construction that will tell you that if you want to build a high skyscraper, you have to dig very deep. And I think a lot of people are looking to build without digging. And I think that's the most dangerous thing. But whenever I look at a big skyscraper, I'm always thinking, what did they have to do to dig to build this? Like, what did they actually have to do? Because people want success, but they don't want process. Like, they want to build, but are they willing to dig? And that is basically what today is all about. I just want to share my journey thus far. For anyone that's new and doesn't know who I am, hi guys, my name is Hayley Mulenda record. I am an international speaker, consultant, friend, wife, daughter, disciple of the Lord Jesus Christ. There's many things that I do, many hats that I wear, and I definitely say I'm multi-hyphenate. More than anything, I love hard. I speak life. People come and call me a life speaker because I like to speak life. I like to use my words to edify other people. So whether that's in the corporate settings that I do with the clients that I work with, whether that's my friends, whether that's my husband, whether that's, my family, I just always want to make sure that my words are speaking life into people. I'm probably the person who listens to my podcast the most because I always feel like God is speaking to me through me. Does anybody else have that? I feel like the reason why I wanted to come back is I ran away from podcasting because of the responsibility, and also I felt like I didn't want to face myself. I didn't want to hold myself accountable to some of the things that I was saying. I think it's really important when you're building a personal brand, the importance of integrity and accountability. There was some things I would definitely say, I wasn't necessarily saying from a bad place, but I was saying things, but I wasn't actually really applying it in my life. I know there's many of us who are great with counsel, great with wisdom, but we don't have that accountability to actually apply it in our life. So it's very easy to not be held accountable. It's very easy to have a platform where you're teaching people to do things and you're not doing it yourself. Run away from that. Please do not do that because it will catch you up. The Bible comes and says that there is nothing new under the sun and everything that is in the dark will come to light. And I feel like all the things that I tried to run away from came up in my engagement and in my marriage. I definitely would say the biggest mirror I've ever faced has been marriage. It has been beautiful, but it has definitely been challenging at the same time. And I'm so grateful to be married to the most amazing person. Like, I definitely feel like God handcrafted my husband just for me. And I love him with everything in me. Last year, we did launch a podcast called For the Record with Mr. and Mrs. Record, and it is coming back, by the way. But I think it's really important, as I said, to really share where I've been basically for the past 2 years of my life and really talking about that process. And the process that I feel like I faced was going back to basics and going back to the foundations. Over the past 2 years, my life has changed a lot. I have gotten married. I have made the most money I've ever made in my life. I've traveled the most in my life. I evolved. I stepped into a new era of my life. My name changed. It's actually very deep when your name changes. Abraham was somebody who could not have a child. Abraham was the father of many nations. When God changes your name, the destination changes. When God changes your name, the destiny changes. And I feel like the past year was getting to know Hayley Mulenda record. There was something that God said to me that was really deep. He said to me, I need to strip away everything you find identity in with Hayley Mulenda before you can become Hayley Mulenda record. There was so many things I found identity in. I found identity in my money. I found identity in my network. I found identity in my following. I found identity in being a church girl. They got to a point where I left my church for a bit, got to a place where I wasn't even going to church at one point, got to a place where my faith was tested, my finance was tested. I got to a point just before my wedding where everything was tested. I could not show up on the podcast because I knew at that point I'd be leading and bleeding. I knew that anything that was going to leave my mouth at the time where a lot of people were telling me to come onto the podcast, I was not ready. I'm very big and adamant on the fact that I never want to use the stage or use my platform for therapy. So I was in therapy at that time. And I feel like that's the type of society and culture we live in, unfortunately, because it's so hard to hold people accountable. And because integrity isn't pretty, we have a lot of people who are building platforms and they're just bleeding, offloading, ranting, and they're not healing. So they're telling you how to live your life, but they're not actually taking the same advice to heal and be held accountable for the things that they need to do. And I just never wanted to be that person. I never want to be that person that has this online platform that is perfect, has it all together, and I'm not dealing with my demons offline. I've always come to say, God, do not make me a public success and I'm a private failure. One of the greatest things that I've been able to receive over the past 2 years is my husband in the area of integrity and accountability. I think the reason why I can come up and show up wholeheartedly and be open and be honest and actually be confident, should I say, and comfortable to come and be like, guys, this is what I've been through, this is where I'm at, is because my husband holds me accountable. When you're single, you don't have anyone really checking you for what you're saying or putting out there. If I post something that ain't true, my husband will be like, but that's not true. My husband will pull me up on it. And it's not to come and say that I've ever used my platform to lie or distort truth. But the reality is, it's just so easy sometimes to just paint a picture that's not true. One of my most popular keynotes is about being a real model rather than a role model. Being real and authentic with your journey. Being real and open about the things you're going through. This is the place where I'm basically processing the last 2 years of my life. So there's a lot of things that I'm going to be delving into. A lot of things that I've learned. The most powerful lessons you will ever learn will always be in your darkest place. When I prayed to God just before I got married and God said to me, I'm going to remove everything you find identity in so that when you become Hayley Record, that identity is going to be rooted in me. I did not realize how many things I found identity in that were really toxic. Something that I addressed last year that I'd never really addressed was the fact that when I was bullied in school and how much that impacted me, the way I viewed myself, how much it impacted the way that I view others, how I view friendships, how much it impacted my trust issues. I find it really hard to be part of a big friendship group because I was once in one, but in year 7, the bullying kind of started from there. And that really impacted me a lot. And the fact that, I faced that the very first time last year was definitely very interesting for me. And it allowed me to go to the root of a lot of things that I think about, my thought process, my belief systems. As I said, the reality is you can't build an empire, you can't build properly without really digging. We live in a world where everyone's trying to build, but no one's trying to dig, right? It's about making sure that we're really building the necessary things for us to sustain the very thing that God has called us to have. In this past month, the one thing I've been praying for is stewardship. I've been saying, God, give me the wisdom to steward the things that you've given me in my hands. Because I never want to get to a place where I'm given something prematurely and I mess it up. Because the reality is we're going to get judged with the very things that we've been trusted with. And I felt like the past 2 years, that's been the question that I've had to really have a hard conversation with myself. Hayley, can God trust you? Can God trust you in certain rooms? Can he trust that you're going to steward it well? I was at a conference the other day and we're talking about planes landing well. I'm one person, I fly a lot and I write off any airline where the landing is rocky. There's been one airline that the landing was mad. You will never find me on Turkish Airlines. I'm gonna tell you that for free. There's something that this speaker was talking about, Inky Johnson, and he said it so well. No one's gonna use the plane again if the plane crashes or the plane lands badly. How many people are gonna book you again if you don't know how to land your deal well, if you don't know how to end a relationship well, if you don't know how to steward something well? Because we're in this hustle culture about new clients, new this, new money, you're not even learning to steward the very thing that God trusted you with, that maybe you was meant to do that free speaking engagement, but because it wasn't paying you the way it was meant to pay you, just treated it like it was nothing. And that person was actually gonna give you a paid opportunity, but because you weren't willing to steward what the opportunity was, maybe it was that free client, maybe it was a job, maybe it was a place that you was meant to serve, maybe it was someone you was meant to mentor, because you didn't steward that season well, the unfortunate thing is not going to benefit you in the future because the plane isn't going to be used again. I've been asking myself, how many opportunities did God trust me with? Because I didn't find value in it, because I didn't find money in it, because I didn't find that it was fitting to me, I didn't steward it well. And I've been really studying and focusing on the word stewardship. God, I don't want to miss what you have for me because I don't want to be a good steward. I don't want to miss what you have for me because I want to be selfish and I only want to think about what I gain from this. The more money I'm being exposed to, the greater clients that I'm being exposed to, the greater rooms I'm being exposed to, God is reminding me more about the power of service and stewardship. There's something my pastor always says, Hayley, no matter how high you go, never be afraid to bow before a low God. And it's not just about being low before God in terms of prayer. It's about surrendering yourself to kind of be like, God, who do you need me to serve? Who do you need me to pray for? What is the posture you need me to have for me to attain what you've called me to have? The greatest battle I've actually found is good and God. The devil, the enemy, the thing that wants to distract you is never going to come in the bad. It's always going to come in the good. Like, I've actually found that the biggest things that have distracted me are not the things that hurt me. It's the things that I like. And I feel like the past 2 years, that's what I've had to face. I've had to say, Hayley, what is the good move and what is the God move? Through this series, through these episodes, we're going to be able to really go back to the basics of our lives so that you can hear God clearly, so that you can discern well, so that you can build wisely, so that you can know the difference between good versus God. Something I always say is, yes, God is good, but not always good is God, right? God is a good God, but sometimes the good you have encountered, the good you are facing is not always God. So I really just wanted to come on here and really just be open about the fact that, you know, the past 2 years of my life have been hard. They've been heartbreaking. Even this time last year, Jesus, the first 6 months of my marriage. Hey. All I'm saying is God is good. I'm not going to come and say that it was the ghetto, but I'm going to say it was definitely a learning experience. Let's just say I paused my podcast with my husband because I needed to heal. We needed to deal with some things. I feel like God actually allowed me to do the podcast because the reality is I would have never been exposed to that level of healing that I needed if I didn't do the podcast. And I'm so grateful that I checked it first. I saw it early. And now me and Sterling are in the best place. Not just in our marriage, in our finances, in just life, in terms of our friendship, companionship. We're in the best place. And to be honest, I don't know if he wants to come back onto podcast because he's just having so much fun offline. Comment below if you want the For the Record podcast to come back, and I'll push for it to be running simultaneously. I am definitely the busiest I've ever been in my life, and I used to always deny it. You know, when people used to be like, Hayley, you're so busy, I used to be like, no, I'm not. And because I used to deny it, I used to overbook myself, and then I used to get tired because I'm trying to meet all these people. I'm trying to people please. I'm trying to be like, no, let me meet this friend, let me meet that friend, let me blah, 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 blah. And I never was addressing myself. I was never having those hard conversations. I was never going back to the basics, and I was trying to please everyone else, and I felt like, yo, Hayley, chill. Even though I'm busy, I'm actually quite chilled because I've learned the powerful word boundaries. That word boundaries, bye-bye to jatty. Hey, bye-bye to bad boundary. One thing about me, I'm gonna pass you to my PA. If you're not in my inner circle, I will pass you to my PA. I will say, hey, bro, hey, sister, give me your email and we will find time for my PA. And it's not me being rude. It's not me being disrespectful. But the reality is I need those boundaries in place. I need it in my calendar. If it's not in my calendar, it's not booked. Sorry, not sorry, right? And I'm learning to just extend grace to myself. The past 2 years, I learned, Hells, it's okay. Slow down, baby. It's okay. Where are you running? Who's chasing you? A conversation I had with myself last year, and I was like, bruv, you're only 26, you know? Like, you're only 26. I'm not going to deny the fact that I'm well accomplished for my age, especially in the area of public speaking. And another reason why I feel like people still feel like they need to build aggressively because they're not processing what they've already built. I've been speaking for 10 years. 10 years. I started speaking at the age of 16. I've been documenting my speaking journey for 10 years. If you go onto YouTube, there is a video of me speaking at the age of 16 and I'm 26. I've been documenting, building, speaking, traveling around the world for the past 10 years, nearly speaking to over 500,000 people. On my socials, in terms of the internet, my impact is probably ranging over 5 million people in terms of views. I'm so grateful by the grace of God that I've had the opportunity to do this. The thing that allowed me to slow down was processing, Hayley, you're doing well, babe. Well done, baby. Like, the world is so negative. There's a mindset I've had to break out of. I find that it's quite heavy in the UK. Scarcity is a huge thing. And I don't want to be part of that anymore. I don't want to be part of that culture, right? I don't want to be part of that culture that is kind of like, yo, like, come on, keep going. I'm all about consistency. I'm all about grinding. I work hard. I do my job. I've got a team of 7 people in terms of my business. Sterling has now joined my business full time to be a director of the business. We are building. We are scaling. There is a lot of things happening. We are traveling, child, building international clients, traveling around the world. God is good and God is faithful. But it came to a point where I'm actually happy building right now. I was tired building before because I never had those conversations with myself. I said, Hayley, well done. Because for some some of us, the reason why we're building unhealthy ways is because you haven't given that pat on the back to be like, baby, well done. Well done for that last year. Well done for securing your first client. Well done. Go back to the basics. Starts with first giving yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Guys, I extend grace to myself now, child. If I can't do it, I just ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. And I'm not gonna force myself to do it because I'm all about giving myself 110%. And if I know I can't give 110%, I ain't gonna do it. Affirmation, affirm yourself. Love yourself. Ask yourself who is chasing you. Because some of you guys, you are running. But where are you running to? And the third thing is why? What is all of this for? If I don't have that thing that roots me and grounds me, everything is meaningless without the Lord. I'm being honest. My faith has kept me through the seasons that don't make sense. I love that there's so many things happening right now in the world because it's making me look to God. Because there is no certainty in the economy. There's no certainty in people. There's no certainty in leadership. There's no certainty even in your job. There's no certainty with clients. There's no certainty. The only certainty is in the word. In the beginning was the word was with God, and the word was God. That is the certainty that is keeping me grounded and allowing me to feel peace. The older that I've been getting, people have been asking me, Hayley, what do you want for your birthday? Last year I just said, I want peace, good friends, discernment and wisdom. Got it, follow you to go. Listen, me, I want the peace, I want the wisdom, I want the good company, I want the discernment. Yes, I want the money. I want the money that's not going to make me compromise though. When I was younger, there's certain deals, certain money I'm getting now. 2 years ago, I could have not received it because I wasn't grounded enough in myself to not compromise. Now, yeah, I ain't compromising. I ain't compromising my peace, my faith, my morals, my values. Nah, no back shift me there. And for anyone that can come and say, oh yeah, that could never be me. The enemy is never going to come with bad to your face. It's good. Some things that have come near me have been good things. I'm not going to lie to you. They've been good, but they haven't been God. So as I round up the close of this podcast episode, just know that you're receiving a Hayley 2.0. You're receiving a Hayley that has gone through process, who's gone through refining, a maturing, a pruning, and elevating as well. I'm a grown woman. Woo! I do whatever I want. I'm a grown woman. I'm married. Like, you guys were listening to me when I was in my mom's house. Love my mom, but I'm with my husband now. And I'm married now. And so much has changed, literally. So I can't wait to delve into this new season, new series, new Hayley, new version of the Building You podcast, to have those real honest conversations. I will be bringing on guests. I will be having amazing conversations that is all about business, scaling, team building, discernment, wisdom, faith, alignment, all them things there. And I just want to cover you. I just want to pray for you. I just pray that as God is taking you through 2024, as you are desiring more abundance, more life, more money, more grace, more favor, more wisdom, more discernment, that God will not give you more that is going to crush you. That if the more is going to crush you, God will stop you from attaining that because he loves you so much. I pray God will give you discernment to know the difference between good versus God. I pray God will surround you with people who will empower you, inspire you, who will challenge you and keep you. I pray God will keep you, cover you. I pray that angels will encamp around you. I pray that this year will be your greatest year yet, not just in terms of resource and finance, but actually in peace and wisdom. Thank you so much for listening, tuning in. We're going to be back next week with a new episode of Building You podcast. Subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you next week for the Building You podcast. Yeah, I'm out.